All right, joining us next on the show today, this Big Friday edition of the Steak for Breakfast podcast. He's the congressman who represents North Carolina's 13th congressional district. Welcome in for the first time, Representative Brad Knott. Thanks for joining us on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Glad to have you in for the first time, Congressman. We got a bunch to talk about. Let's start with the first 100 days of President Trump's second term in office. A lot of things to talk about regarding that. A lot of major accomplishments, some hurdles set up by the Democrats and the radical activist judges. But sticking in the thread of things that worked almost immediately has to be about border security and immigration. Just from your perspective, Congressman, maybe your office's perspective, even the districts, how are you guys seeing the improvement in border security over the course of the first 100 days? And what does it mean with all the stuff coming down the road congressionally moving forward?
That's right. Great question and a very appropriate lead off because it honestly is the reason why I decided to run for Congress. I was a former federal prosecutor who focused exclusively on organized crime. And organized crime, it took me to be in my cases, of course, all over the country. You see how illegal immigration hits everywhere and every sector of our country. And I think the voters really started to feel that in earnest over the last 4 years when millions of people were coming in every year. These are illegal immigrants. The Republicans are very pro-legal immigration. Who are you? Why are you here? If you contribute to the country in a lawful way, we want you here. It's the illegal immigrants who undercut wages, who take jobs that should be for Americans, that sell drugs, that traffic humans, that really inflict harm across the board. No matter what sector of our society, it was harmed by illegal immigrants. And the president, very rightfully, when he got into power, those were some of his first actions to deal with the border, to deal with the perverted policies of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which really incentivized. They didn't just play neutral. They were very aggressive in seeking illegal immigrants coming into the country. They facilitated the entry. They facilitated the duration of the stay. They gave them tax dollars. They gave them access to education. They gave them access to jobs. They gave them your money to cover every basic need that they had when they were here. And when the lowest people in the United States are living better than 98% of the rest of the world, there's a huge incentive for people to come here. And Joe Biden exploited that at the expense of the American taxpayer. And the president has been very aggressive and very successful using his office to reverse that and stop it.
You know, I've heard some of your counterparts from the other side of the aisle over the course of the past week or so, as they were running up on President Trump's first 100-day anniversary here, talking about things about homelessness, about veterans, about education, about healthcare. You know, if you're one of the people out there listening who think that 20 million people came in under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, or that there's 20 million people in total here in the United States that don't have legal status and are kind of milking off the systems that American taxpayers have to take, priority in paying and putting ahead of our students, of our sick, of our elderly, of our veterans. It would seem like it would be a problem that the Democrats would want to jump on if they want to complain about homeless veterans sleeping on the streets, the current state of the education system, Republicans looking to trim the fat, waste, fraud, and abuse from things like Medicaid, if they didn't have, so many other millions of people in this country who are also using all of those systems in a lot of instances for free.
That's right. That's right. Spare me the wailing and the gnashing over fill in the blank, education funding, Medicare funding, Medicaid funding, whatever it may be. These same people who are playing political games right now went to bat for the right to give your money to illegal immigrants. That money could have been spent bettering American schools, which are suffering. It could have been better spent going to rural hospitals, which are going bankrupt because of illegal immigrants coming, using, and then not paying. It could have gone to the veterans who, instead of sleeping under bridges, should be housed at the taxpayer's expense rather than the illegal immigrant. I mean, just one example, the New York case, right? President Trump clawed back $80 million of one installment that was going to New York to house illegal immigrants in hotels. What are we doing? It's outrageous. Every dollar that goes to an illegal immigrant should be either saved or spent on American citizens. And the Democrats wailing around right now in protest, it holds absolutely no water because they spent the last 4 years subjugating the American people to their priorities, which was to bring in as many illegal immigrants as possible. And thankfully, at least for now, that's stopped.
No, it certainly is. And then looking at some of the other things that kind of encompass this narrative, we have to talk about the radical activist judges who have been trying to temporary restraining order, injunct, or just stymie the movement of the Trump administration, which has been trying to move at breakneck speed, especially in things regarding immigration. When you see some of the things, how the stroke of a pen, I mean, for Democrats, it seems that they figured out the mathematical equation to losing elections. You don't have to have the Speaker of the House. You don't have to have a majority in the lower chamber. You don't have to have power in the Senate or even the man that sits in the office of the president, because you could just go find a judge who, could have in some instances bought their way up to the bench and then just have them with a stroke of a pen stop an entire administration as progress moving forward. I know Congress is looking at a bunch of different angles of this. Kind of want to get your take on it.
It's a great question, and let me just say first that in very recent history, there was an arrest of a judge in Wisconsin, I believe,
Yep.
who actively assisted an illegal immigrant who was being tried in her courtroom with victims of that illegal immigrant's crimes present in her courtroom. She misdirected law enforcement, she lied to them, and then she actively assisted the illegal immigrant in his attempted escape from the immigration authorities. She sort of embodies the mantra of the radical left, especially those who are on the radical left in the judiciary, on the judicial side. This is state and federal. We see this mirrored in sanctuary policies across the country, whether it's San Francisco, Los Angeles, Illinois, New York City, various cities in Philadelphia. The list goes on and on. But this idea that there is no such thing as an illegal immigrant, and an illegal immigrant serves the political wishes of the Democratic Party, whether it's a legislator or a judge, the party itself is all in on the political objectives brought to them by illegal immigration. And it's a tremendous problem. They don't have the Senate. They do not have the House of Representatives. And what we're seeing, unfortunately, is a political operation on the bench. It's quite telling that when Texas, for example, was being overrun by millions of illegal immigrants, federal judges slapped down their efforts to secure their own border, to protect their own taxpayers, to protect the citizens of this country. Now, when President Trump is seeking to remove people who are here illegally, and predominantly, let's be honest, every one of the individuals who the president is targeting should never be here, number one, but are dangerous people, number two. They are dangerous people. And these judges are working in lockstep with the Democratic Party to thwart the legal exercises from the administration. And it is a huge problem.
No, it certainly is, and hopefully Congress has the stomach to tackle this head on. We don't really kind of promote or push impeachments here. We understand that although the House could probably do it, we'd run into an Alejandro Mayorkas type situation where it happens in the House, never happened in the Senate. Even though we'd get a trial, we just won't get the votes, as you need a certain threshold, which would include Democrats to do so. Even though moving forward, it would benefit future administrations if Democrats are able to get back into the Oval Office as well. They just don't understand what's in front of them at this point. And let's just be honest, Congressman, it's anything to stop President Trump. Outside of immigration, I do want to talk to you about some of the other big steps that this administration has done to, make America great again. That necessarily being said is post-Liberation Day, for the Band-Aid being ripped on the trade deficit globally, for how a lot of our allies count on us for friendship, for security, for defense, and other things. The trade imbalance that's happened over the past 20, 30 years here in the United States has gotten, like our annual budget deficit, like our national debt in its totality, unsustainable. It takes a certain kind of administration and president to tackle this head on, for as much as Wall Street and many others don't want to see it happen. But President Trump is doing so. The market's leveled out. The economy's looking better. Inflation is down. And you have allies now coming to the table with deals that are going to be beneficial for both parties and not leave the U.S. taxpayer on the hook to pay off these massive budget deficits in regards to trade. How do you think this move has been for President Trump? And moving forward, do you see this really starting to turn? I mean, we've already got over $7 trillion in investments coming back into the United States before any of the trade deals are really inked. And it just seems like when we're really trying to bring that national debt down, this is going to be a good first step to doing so.
Sure. Well, several points there. I very proudly boast as being someone who is for free trade. The problem is, the president has identified rightfully that many countries do not play by the rules that allow free trade. We are usually by a 90% margin out tariffed with our allies, with the people that we trade with, et cetera. That means that they tariff our goods far more than we tariff their goods. As an example, I just got back from an overseas trip. I did not see any American cars in the city that I was in. That's very problematic. I didn't see any American motorcycles or mopeds. They were everywhere. Didn't see any American brands over there. And that's strictly because of these barriers that President Trump has identified that preclude American products from flooding the international markets in competition. That's all he wants, is the right to compete. And he is right on this issue insofar as he wants free trade, he wants fair trade, and if they won't play by the rules to allow it, we must act in our own interests. Secondly, the problem that very few people talk about is that China is a hostile actor.
Yep.
Every person that comes to my office, whether it is someone from the pharmaceutical business, whether it is someone in the technology business, IT, whether it's someone in the artificial intelligence, even someone, I met with someone, it was interesting, who manufactures piping materials. Every person says that China is actively either stealing their patents, stealing their designs, or they already have it. And once they have those designs, they manufacture it so they can flood the market at their expense, the state's expense, to undercut American companies and American interests. These are not benign efforts from China. And the president has identified this, and I believe he is very acutely working to rectify the hostile party and the hostile actions that are China and the Chinese Communist Party. And it takes real leadership. There's obviously been a pullback economically on some level. I have gotten assurances from anyone who hears this that the president does not want to have a tariff war, but he does want to have free and fair trade for the United States.
Yes.
And he's working to ensure that American businesses, American farmers, American intellectual property can be protected and sold abroad on a fair, level playing field. And that's what he's hoping to do. And if that happens, and if we can get our reconciliation package passed in the next few months, I think you will see an economic cycle that will benefit everybody. And that's what we're working towards.
Big things we're tracking here on Steak for Breakfast. We caught up on a bunch of them with the congressman from North Carolina today. Listen, it was great having you on the show for the first time. We'd love to have you come back anytime. You just let us know whether it's a piece of legislation you're pushing, updates on reconciliation, etc. You just reach out to us, and we'll 100% be there to and happy to host. We've got everything live linked in our show description today, including a link to your link tree, which is going to take you to a lot of great information and social media stuff that you can see the congressman in work, like much as he was here today on the show. Where can we find you on social media? We'll live link that as well.
You know, if you just search for Brad Knott or Representative Brad Knott, we've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Facebook. You know, all the platforms are covered. We'd love to engage with you. We've got a campaign X account. We've got an official X account. You can find us there. That's probably the most active that we're on. And send us a message, send us a comment. We would love to meet you, hear from you, engage with you. And then just so anyone can hear this, we will be doing another telephone town hall soon. So be on the lookout for that. Call into it. Send us your questions. We're ready to engage, and we look forward to hearing from you.
He sure did today. Joining us is the congressman from North Carolina's 13th Congressional District. He's also a member of the Republican Study Committee as well. Representative Brad Knott, thanks for joining us on the show, sir. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.